everyone. Welcome back to College Football Trash Talk, man. I think this is our 8th episode. We're so excited. Thank you for coming here. This is all things talking college football. And I'm here with my buddy, the one and only Greg Vaughn, my brother from another mother. And we're here today. Greg, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
What a great week last week in college football, man. I'm telling you, there were some amazing games.
Man, so much to talk about. So many upsets. So many, unexpected wins. Referee penalties, things that played against a lot of teams that they should have won out.
Well, the one thing I want to do is I'm going to give a shout out to Susan Walters, who came on, was our first guest.
Yes.
And she did amazing. Okay. So, we did a competition as we always do. You and I, we'll talk about that in a minute. But she came on and she got 8 out of 10.
She was sandbagging.
You and I had 7 out of 10, but she had 8 out of 10. And the only game, of course, she went with Georgia, of course.
Of course.
What a game.
Yeah, what a game. I was so happy, glad to have Susan on. She was wonderful. And I know we're always going to get out and reach out for more guests that join us. But that game was, wow. It got really good that second half,
It was, because, here's what's going on in college football. A lot of people are going to agree with me, is that, you have to pay for subscriptions, meaning on Hulu, when I'm watching a game, I can usually go to recent, I can flip back to football games, right?
Right.
I have to sign out of Peacock to go to watch the other games. So I was, of course, watching Ohio State smash Michigan State. But then when I went over to I think Susan texted me and she goes, "You're watching this." I go, "Well, it's a blowout." Then the next thing I know, Georgia went up. I was like, "Wow, what a finish!"
Yeah, I mean, I kind of clicked out at the second half just to go flip around because I have better technology, obviously, than you to go to a different app. But yeah, game. I was like, I saw the ticker at the bottom saying, "Hey, the score is like neck and neck." And then when Georgia took the lead, I was just like. There's a lot of great young players that are in this game today. And so, I mean, we could probably get into that as well, but hey, let's kind of like some talk about, a few some news, anything that you, that surprises of this last week's game.
Well, look, I think that there's when you look at the landscape of college football, there's some surprises. Like, for instance, UNLV is a team that everyone's got really watching right now and seeing how they're going to go. Army and Navy, first time, I think, in history that they've both been undefeated at this stage in the season. And it's pretty amazing for that to happen. Going back to that, I mean, the Group 5 conferences, the Group 5 schools, whoever wins their respective conference is going to get into the Group of 5, right? And that's Boise State, UNLV, James Madison University, Army, Tulane, who you love, and Liberty, who you love. So I'm going to ask you now, getting into that 5th spot, which team do you think is going to make it? And give me your reason why.
Well, before you emphasize who I love, like Tulane and Liberty, I thought they coming into this season, they had some great potential to make a surprising impact in a lot of ways. But honestly, I mean, Boise State, what I think was my favorite, but the big surprise is UNLV. I mean, that transfer quarterback, he's a dual threat. He's more of a running quarterback than a passing quarterback, which has really fit into their offensive scheme. And that's why a lot of these kids that they go to programs that are this hierarchy, and then they stick around, but they deserve to be on the field. And then they transfer into a great program like UNLV that is surprising and shocking so many people. So, hey, good decision making on his part. He's running being a good leader for that team.
So I was listening to something yesterday, and it was about the UNLV, I think the quarterback they had before. Now, what I was hearing is he was promised some money, some NIL money.
Yeah.
Didn't get it.
Yeah.
And what he did was, I think after the third game or whatever, decided that he was not going to play.
Yep.
Based on the money that he didn't get. I think it was like $100,000.
Yep.
So that was an interesting story for me. But and again, I think they're trying to implement. Well, that's another story, but we'll get into it another day. But I think they're trying to implement. And I sent you an article, and we'll get into that later too, about the two power conferences with like 60 teams or something like that. I sent you the article. We'll get into that another day.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting how that's going to go. But they're also trying to put a limit based on each school is going to have a certain amount of money they can spend on NIL. I think that's a good idea, because then it's going to stop all of this craziness is going on. So with that said, I like UNLV. My money's going to go on Boise State. I think they're too stout on defense.
Yeah.
They played some amazing games, and they were close in a big game. I think it was a week ago. But anyway, so I've seen Boise State play. I like the way they play. They're gritty, they're tough. So my group of 5, I'm going with Boise State.
Well, that's awesome. That Gentry running back, I want you to know he's a local kid. He's a local kid and played against one of my Crosstown high school rivals from my kid. So yeah, he's making a big statement. I mean, he did it that way in high school, and he's doing great up there. So I mean, picked a great program that fit his skill set in his offensive play. But hey, just in regards to some of those surprises, what about that Notre Dame and Louisville game?
Well,
I mean, come on.
This is the one that separated us from Susan. Susan chose Notre Dame. You and I chose Louisville.
Correct.
And I really believed that
she had some insider stuff.
Yeah, I really believed that they were going to win. It was one. Look, I'm still not a believer of Notre Dame. As we spoke earlier in the year, I thought they were rated way too high. Then they lost. And then they came back and they whipped up on the next game.
But Notre Dame, they moved into the top 25 now.
They did, and but yeah, it was a big shocker. I thought Louisville was going to play better defense, and I think that they just couldn't move the ball as well as they have in the past.
Right.
So I mean, look, that was one that you and I put down for us. That we thought we had that game for sure. That was one that was great. Let me go to one. Let's go to some of the ones that we had last week. First and foremost, let's jump into the top 25. Is there anything in there that shocks you? Look, this is the one thing that I know is that when Alabama beat Georgia, I knew they were going to be number 1, and that's deservingly so. You guys definitely are number 2. We're at 3. Tennessee 4, Georgia 5. They moved Georgia back 2 spots.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's fair, right?
Well, in some AP or the college football rankings, it got moved a little bit. I mean, I've got Tennessee above Ohio State, in some rankings. So,
never.
Yes. Well, I mean, they're making moves. I mean, as you can see, they have made the most significant change from where they started at the beginning of the season to where they stand today, which was in the top 25, maybe even the top 20. Now and they're in the top 5.
Yeah.
So they've had the biggest growth and the biggest success on the charts, and which is crazy. And like we've stated and remind everybody that, pre-rankings and then early weeks are kind of subpar.
They don't mean anything.
Because next week is when the change is going to start really happening. Everybody's got October 12th on their calendar.
Separation Saturday.
Yeah, because that's going to be a big deal for both of us. But just there's some other games that that stuck out. Was the K-State game against Oklahoma State.
Yes.
I mean, they throttled them. Good on Kansas State, and I picked that one. I do remember.
You did. You and Susan chose Kansas State.
Yeah.
I chose Oklahoma State, and let me tell you something. I was waiting. I kept waiting. I'm like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to start doing something. Telling you, they didn't look good at all. Kansas State looked. That quarterback, Kansas State is legit. He is
He's
legit.
good. Yeah, and the reason why Susan, and give her props, she picked the colors. She went with the purple and silver. She's
Isn't
not
that
an orange
crazy?
girl.
Yeah.
She's a red and black kind of girl.
Right.
So, but I mean, Art. Let's get into Ole Miss, Kentucky.
Oh man!
Wow, huge! And there's been so much chatter on the Kentucky campus. I mean, it's there. That student body is going insane. How they are number one. All this banter.
Well, they lost. Let's go back. They lost to 1 point to Georgia.
Correct.
Right? They were a ball on the 40, past the 50, and it was fourth down. They didn't go for it. I think he's going to go back and look at that and go, I should have went for it.
Yeah.
Because that's the determination of the game. You give it up to Georgia, and they got a couple first downs. It was over. But with that said, I think that he would have gone back and done something different. But then he shows up and beats Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So Georgia, man, I mean Kentucky. Whoa, they're looking good. They're looking real good. Let's go to one that I won in Illinois against Penn State. Susan, we both chose Penn State. Of course, she chose Penn State because her dad played at Penn State,
family
which
ties.
is understandable. And Penn State came out, and it was a good game, but Illinois couldn't move the ball as effectively as they. It was still a close game, 21-7.
Not as close as it should have been, or what I assumed going into that game, because the way Illinois has been playing up to that point. And they've had some big wins in the first few games, so I anticipated a much bigger head-to-head. I think they had a strong battle in the first half, and then, per adjustment in the second halftime, Penn State rolled out and just took charge.
All right, here's a game that I think that you and I both were going to discuss. And there's going to be changes that have just happened in the Big Ten. I'm watching Minnesota and Michigan. Minnesota scores. It's 27-24. They line up for an onside kick. Minnesota gets the ball. Flag on the play. How funny. They're playing at Michigan. They said it was offsides.
No.
You cannot review that call. So the Big Ten came out, I think it was the next day or Monday, saying that the head linesman and the line judge are both going to be lined up on onside kicks coming up in the future.
Right.
So with that said, I mean, there was a catch, too, that there was a Minnesota receiver caught it in the end zone. I think the guy's helmet was here. He reached over, grabbed it, and it was probably one of the craziest catches I've seen in college football this year. But with that said, I think that Michigan now, people are going to go, all right, the quarterback can't throw. You can't.
Yeah.
They're doing screens and little
they're making them one-dimensional. Everybody's watching that run game. They know they've taken McNamara, has not been their guy. Orji, he comes in. He is become that new guy, the dual threat.
What McNamara's over at Iowa. You talking about Wagner?
Wagner, thank you.
Yes, fifth-year guy, threw 3 interceptions. They took him out, and now we got this guy. Look, athletically, this quarterback is Orji. He's so amazing.
Yeah,
but he can't throw the ball. As a matter of fact, he threw an interception, and that even made his confidence even decrease. But that was a game that was the most interesting game, and the rules changed was amazing because it happened. It happened immediately.
I'm glad it happened because Minnesota should have got that ball.
The other game that you picked, and you love Arizona, was Arizona-Utah.
That is correct.
And you chose Arizona, and Susan and I both chose Utah. Utah, I think that what happens is when people, when quarterbacks that people don't know come in, they might do well because they don't really, the defenses, they don't really know how to, they don't know what its strengths and weaknesses are. After week 3, they kind of figured them out. And let me tell you something, Arizona played super, super well. And they were not able to do anything. And
there was just too much talent on Arizona. The speed, their game, their scheme. They watch tape. These programs, they get in, they do film work, they run scout. They had to have been ready. I think they underestimated. They should have been more hyped for the game because I mean, it played into their, their playoff potential, So, I mean, they need to win out the Pac-12, and I think they were predicted to win out. So they come in high, they have big wins, but when the game counts, they got to win it.
Yeah. And so, there's a couple of other games that, like, for instance, those are the only ones with that. Oh, this is the other game I want to talk about was UCF that we both chose going against Colorado. And Colorado really surprised me on that.
And what was I didn't catch that game, but.
Colorado kind of beat them up. I think the final score, let me get it for you, was 31. Let me get that. But Colorado, they showed up. And so.
They're playing the UCF. I mean, like, no offense to UCF. I think they're a great program there. They got good leadership. But Colorado, all the hype they had, all the talent with Travis Hunter. I mean, it can't be a two-headed monster winning for the
48-21 was the score.
Wow. Were they on
that was
home?
The first? Yeah, that was the first loss for UCF.
Okay.
Yeah, they were defeated.
Well, they didn't come in prepared. The travel, you know what? They're in the Rocky Mountains, man. That air. Let me tell you, I know from experience, man.
No, I think the Colorado. I think they played at UCF.
They traveled to Florida.
Yeah,
that's in Orlando. Yep.
And the heat. You could say either way. I mean, the heat. I mean, it's the
man. It rains every 30 minutes there. Come on, let's move on. Right. I don't even care to talk about college. They're not doing anything to impress me.
So the other game that I was looking at, and I thought that Virginia Tech to me is better than their record. Miami, they hung tough with Miami.
Yes, they did, which opened
38-34, and they could have won the game.
Yeah. They played. They lights were on for them. They wanted this. They wanted to make a big statement, and because this was a big ACC matchup, and this is a big rival game, and they were down in Miami. I mean, what a bold statement to go down there and get punched in the mouth in your backyard.
Yeah. I mean, so as we always do, Greg. Let's go to the scoreboard. Okay, Week 5. Greg and I, 2-2. Let's go to the scoreboard.
Oh, boy. Here we go, fellas.
With that said, Greg has a total of 8 wins for this up to Week 5. James has 13. 13.
Yeah, well, that's about to change this week, buddy.
Yo.
All right. Long way to go, buddy. Long way to go. We'll see who's standing at the end of the game, buddy.
You know what that is? It's called the victory bell.
Victory bell.
You don't really own one of those, right?
You know what?
You don't.
We're already one
it's called
step
a victory bell. It's called a victory bell.
We got Vivo. We have Vivo at home.
You haven't beat me.
Well, Miami, they came back. Cam Ward, I thought he did great. I mean, he had 4 touchdowns. He threw for almost 350 yards. I mean, he was pretty spot on. I mean, VTech, that defense, they showed up. And I was really impressed. They just need to start like that and continue to ride that journey. But to me, I think that, like I said, I think they're better than their record. They're certainly better than their record. They put a lot of pressure on them. Their defense really did a great job. Good on them.
We looked. The one game that I'll go over real quick is Wisconsin USC. Wisconsin was winning at halftime. And I thought, oh my God, USC. If USC would have lost that game, there would have been a huge question mark coming in. Lincoln Riley, taking over USC. Where are they in the Big Ten? They came back and they ended up winning that game.
Aussie threw for 300 yards.
Yeah,
3 touchdowns. I mean, they had their running game pretty strong. Wasn't great. The receiving game was pretty spot on, but they lit it up in the second half. I mean, they really just said, "Hey, we're going to remind you of who we are and what we're doing and coming into the Big Ten. That was a nice Big Ten win for them.
Yep. 28 points they scored in the second half.
Yeah, but I mean, they haven't played Ohio State, Michigan.
Excuse me, that's the. Get it right, bro. It's the Ohio State. Come on, man. I've known you for how long? You still can't get it right? Come on. We own that.
It doesn't roll off the tongue. The Ohio State.
There you go. I come on.
I'll support you and be here to give you a tissue box when you lose.
My cat's on the roof, and my dogs ran out in the back. So when I ring that bell, everybody vacates quick. And the neighbors are like, what the hell's going on over there? I said, it's the victory bell, Greg. It's the victory bell.
Yeah. Well, hey, I want to tell you a little something about the top 10 this week. Alabama, they had a thrilling win over Georgia, obviously, 41-34.
Yeah.
So they've taken the top spot from what I'm seeing. Texas slid down from their number one. They secured a 35-13 win over
Mississippi State. Slide down, bro. They got smacked out at first.
No, when we beat Georgia in a couple of weeks, we'll get that ranking again.
Okay, let's talk about that in a few weeks.
Yeah, Arch Manning, another stellar performance. I mean,
great.
The guy's stepping in. I mean, he is everything we expected him to be and more. I mean, 26-31, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, running game, receiving. They're a big threat. Ohio State, dominant Michigan State, win over Michigan State. Their defense really, I think, did what they needed to do. I mean, they were.
Let me go over that real quick.
Please do.
I'm on a group text with all my family back home, and we talk about the game and whatever. And I got to be honest with you. So the game started off, we scored very quickly, and then Michigan State had 2 drives, and if they didn't have turnovers, the points might have been different. So I'm saying just between.
They scored 1 touchdown, buddy.
I know, but I think they fumbled on maybe the 15-yard line.
So they were in the red zone.
Another turnover. So they were actually moving the ball, but it was. I tell you, there was 2 things that happened in that game. Defense needs to clean it up, even though they only scored 7 points. But still, what I saw, the defense needs to clean it up big time. And offensively, there was 2 catches from Jeremiah Smith that were unbelievable. It was the ESPN dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. One jumps up one-handed, then the other one going out, another one. I said, you know what? If he lost his left arm, he could still play because he only needs one arm, bro. That's it.
Man, like we mentioned earlier, I mean, between the young talent today, the freshman, Jeremy Smith, and then you got Ryan Williams down in Bama making unbelievable moves. The yap that he did, he'd catch a ball and just make Georgia's defensive secondary bad. And then you got Ryan Wingo down in Texas. I mean, there is some great young receivers. Those are the top 3 that I've seen so far this year. Oh, and the one out of Arizona. Can't leave him out.
Well, I mean, the guy from Alabama, was it Ryan Williams?
Ryan Williams.
He's
only
number 1
receiver.
17, I think.
Yeah. And his NIL deal went from it went from $750,000 to $1.5 million after 1 game. I mean, that is a huge swing.
Yeah, but bro, he balled it out. I mean, I mean, his catches. I mean, I was watching the Ohio State game. I was like, wow, this is probably the best freshman. Then I flip it over to Alabama. I'm watching him. I'm like, oh my God, this young talent.
Yeah.
Is you talked about the guy in Texas, the freshman there.
Yeah, but that Ryan Williams, the 17-year-old, 6 receptions for 177 yards. I mean, that's impressive.
It's especially because when you if they're talking size, the Ohio State receivers size-wise bigger than the receiver from Alabama, but man, just one word: electric.
Yes,
electric.
I agree.
I mean, super. I mean, the move that he had when he caught it, then he did a spin move, and then he stopped, and the Georgia players kind of collided. And then he went in for I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's like in the moment, in the game, making these incredible moves. One word, electric, bro.
Yes. What about Oregon defense excelled over the UCLA 34-13? I mean, that was making a nice. I mean, it's very much like Ohio State playing Michigan State. That the competition wasn't equal, but I mean, they did get the victory down there. And even though Georgia slid, they made an incredible comeback in the second half. Penn State, man, what an impressive with 79% pass rush win rate against Illinois. That defense lights out.
Yeah. But still, it's Illinois. Illinois, too, I thought, again, we all predicted it was going to be a close game. I didn't think there was going to be a lot of points scored. As a matter of fact, Moses was asking me, he was at he had to work that day, help with the football team. One thing he was asking me, Dad, was talking about the under. Should I take the under? The under was 44. I go, take it. There's not going to be 44 points scored in this game.
Yeah.
And only, you saw there was only 28 points scored. So I knew that.
Yeah.
Penn State's going to have to score more points, though, to win more games. Look, like you said, next week, October 12th, there's going to be a lot of big games. That top 10 we're seeing right now is going to fluctuate. So, and then when you guys go to Oklahoma and play Oklahoma, when is that?
We're meeting right here in my backyard. Red River Rivalry, baby.
When is that?
That is October 12th. That's at the Cotton Bowl. You know what I really wish, just to add a little something on that? I wish they would do a Jerry World at AT&T for that. But, I mean, they're so historically known to play in the Cotton Bowl, and it's a good divider. It's the State Fair of Texas, which all my kids are excited about. They get 190,000 plus. It's going to be packed. It's already sold out. It's going to be a great weekend in town. Well, it's going to be a great win.
I think what you just said kind of makes it, meaning the fair. Yeah. I mean, you're incorporating that with the football game.
Yeah.
I think that's you just can't take that away.
You can't. I mean, I know the history, and as I was saying it, I was like almost like kicking myself for saying it but Arkansas and A&M, they played down here, at AT&T, which is a lot of fun. But I think a lot of improvements going to be made on the stadium, so they're going to expand the Cotton Bowl. So I mean, because they just get too many people down there that want to go to the game, especially with the programs doing well. It's always been a long history, like Michigan and Ohio State.
So one team that creeped into the top 10. Let's get your viewpoint. Should Michigan be rated number 10 from the AP poll? Do you have Michigan at 10?
Yeah, I got Michigan at 10, but I don't think they deserve that. I think they're in the top 15, maybe. I think they do have some talent, but they're just, as the season prolongs, they're going to definitely fall back and maybe stay in the top 20.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a second because we got to go over our picks for next week. But we are moving on to our next segment, which is fun for me because it's all about competition with Greg and I. Again, let me just go back. I'm leading from the board. I have 6, 9, 13. Greg has 6, 8. 13 to 8. Hold on. Let me just get, what's this called, Greg? It's called the victory bell, baby. 13 to 8. So with that said, Greg, you have a chance to maybe get closer, or it could get even worse for you this week. Let's start off with the game that we spoke about earlier. Now, and so I just want to let me give you the intro. Syracuse, Kyle McCord, I think they've lost one game. So they're going into UNLV. UNLV is ranked 25th in the country. Who do you got?
They're going into Louisville. I mean,
UNLV.
Yeah. I may have to ride the UNLV bandwagon on this one. I mean, I like Syracuse, what they did with coaching changes, with Fromm. I'm very excited. McCord at quarterback. He's got a little bit more high-level exposure playing at the shoe. He's adapted to a new scheme of offense. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a really good head-to-head. I don't think it's going to be an overwhelming victory by any team. And flipping a coin. I'm going to take UNLV.
I'm going to go, and I'll tell you why I'm going to go Syracuse. Kyle McCord, a couple games ago, threw two really bad interceptions. I mean, it was like, and there was a guy from Ohio State, I forget it, I'm going to remember in a second, who sent a text to Kyle McCord. He's starting to run the ball now.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a sarcasm, like, where was that when you played at Ohio State? Because he never ran.
Right.
I mean, as a matter of fact, he was always like, I think, minus yardage for running. I'm going Syracuse because I think he's really starting to come into his own. He's got some really good targets to throw to.
It's going to be a night game.
Huh?
Going to be a night game.
Yeah. So I'm going. UNLV is going to be pumped. It's going to be whatever. But I think Kyle McCord's been to a big stage, like you said. I'm going Syracuse. Let's go this one. Let's go Missouri is traveling to Texas A&M.
What do you got? Let's hear your thoughts on this.
Oh, you want to go me? Okay.
Yeah,
we'll go
I want you to lead this one.
I think that Missouri has not got me sold yet. And Texas A&M had a game where they lost. I picked Texas A&M. I picked them last week. They won. But I've been a big believer of Texas A&M, especially when they play at home.
Yeah.
Again, my what I said last week is I think all games moving forward. I mean, look, it's all important at the beginning of the year to have that home field. But now I think it's more important than ever, especially if it's a close game, the noise, playing at Penn State, Camp Randall, or you're playing at Texas or whatever. So I am going to go A&M for the win.
Well, you've mentioned a few things. They're at home. They're coming together, and we're into the SEC. And every game is a must-win game in the SEC. A&M, they've made some, they've won. They've lost to Notre Dame, obviously, at home at a night game, which is the biggest stage against a team that we both didn't think that deserved to be in as highly ranked as they were. Missouri, with Brady Cook, he's kind of flattened a little bit, but I still think the hype of them coming down, knowing what's at stake, I'm going to go with Missouri.
Missouri.
My heart says A&M because I'm a Texan and my grandfather went to A&M. But I'm going to go with Missouri to come down and kind of deflate A&M.
Yeah, I mean, again, Missouri is ranked number 9 in the country. So, like you said, there's a lot of things going on here. By the way, there was a tie for 25th, ranked 25th. UNLV and Texas A&M were tied at 25.
Yeah.
Let's go to Big Ten country, Michigan State traveling to Oregon.
I can't even believe we're going to talk about this, but because it's going to be a smoke show. This is an Oregon blowout. I mean,
let's move on very quickly. Oregon's going to blow them out. That's neither here nor there. I think Oregon's going to win. Let's do this one. This one, I don't know. I mean, again, this might be a short one. UCLA's traveling to Penn State. Now, here's the thing. Penn State, they're playing at 9 a.m., which is 12. But UCLA traveling cross country, playing it's whatever. Anyway, I believe we're both going to go Penn State. Is that correct?
You would be correct.
All right. So let's get to this one. This is a team that we both loved, but they're playing against another team that we both love. So SMU.
Yeah, I knew you were going
traveling to Louisville. Louisville's ranked 22 in the country.
Yeah.
The game's early. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Who do you got?
SMU. Not even going to, I'm sticking with my hometown. I think SMU, their quarterback, there's been some controversy because Preston Stone, former number 1 right there, I think they brought in the kid right under him. I'm not quite sure, but I believe so. I just think the SMU, they won big last week, and I think they're going to do it again. And Louisville, they got hit in the gut on that game. They should have won, and they didn't. So I know both teams are going to be really super pumped. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. So over 50 plus, maybe even 60.
Right. Well, they're traveling to Louisville.
Not far.
As I said before, home teams are going to have the advantage. I think SMU is playing a little bit out of their mind. I think reality is going to set in. I got Louisville winning a close one, and I'm saying that because home field advantage.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to move again. We'll do this, and this is another team I want to talk to you about. And I think so. They got Indiana, who's ranked 23rd, undefeated, traveling to Northwestern. Indiana right now is playing amazing football. I don't think that anything's going to change here. I'm going with Indiana for the win, and I think they're going to be undefeated going into Week 6, which is I don't know when the last time they were undefeated in Week 6, but I know it's a long time ago.
I don't think they've gotten this good of a record out of the gate in history. I mean, if they win
1977, they said I think they were something like that, So
well, let's give Northwestern credit because always when their win-loss record is not good, when a big team that's on a high, they like to be the team that comes in there and just pulls the rug out from underneath them. I think it's going to be close, and I know I'm behind on some wins and losses, so I need to stay in this. So I'm going to go with Indiana.
Okay, I think that's a good pick. Let's go to.
How about we talk about Ohio State and Iowa?
Well, we'll get there. We're going to get there. Let's go Auburn, who you love, and they're going against Georgia. Who do you got?
You know what? Let's not preface every team that you think I love as big as it is. You know what?
I'm going by the teams that you said were.
Listen, we know what's going to happen. Auburn's going to go into Georgia, and Georgia, after a very close, tough, very deflating loss against Bama, is going to go in and throttle them. As much as I think their program and Freeze is a great coach, I think their program is on the rise. Auburn is going to be very competitive. It is SEC game, but Georgia is going to come out on this one.
Yeah, I totally agree 100%. I believe Georgia has got a bad I would put it this way. Whenever a team like Georgia loses, I would hate to be the next team on
100%.
I mean, because they're going to come in and I think they're going to open up a can. I believe that it's going to be by 21 or more. This one's a great one. Ole Miss, and this is a good one. I want you to think about this before you choose. South Carolina.
Yeah.
Now, South Carolina has played some amazing football. Again, I think Ole Miss lost.
Yeah.
And they're going to come in, and I believe that. Listen, you cannot go against a Heisman that was up there for the Heisman. I think that Ole Miss is going to pull this out. I think it's going to be close, but I think Ole Miss is going to win.
Yeah. I think South Carolina is very much like Kentucky, very underrated from the get-go. I do believe Ole Miss is very much like Georgia after a tough loss. They're going to come in and make a statement. They're going to air it out. They're going to run that ball right down your throat. I'm all Ole Miss. I like Ole Miss. One of my favorite teams.
So we both agree on that. Okay, next game that we want to talk about, and this one could be the spread could be a little lower. Iowa is traveling to Ohio State. It's going to be a 3:30 game. It's going to be electric. This is going to be Ohio State's true test because Iowa's defense has always been stout. Our defense is going to go up against McNamara, transfer, I think, from Michigan. It's going to be this. I think that it's going to be a test. I don't think it's going to be a lot of points scored in the game. I'm predicting 28-7 Ohio State. But I'm definitely, of course, going for the Ohio State.
Well, I usually don't tend to ride your coattail. And I'm not going to start today because I'm thinking Iowa's going to come in with that defense into the shoe and make a statement. I definitely think they're excited about where their program has gone and what they're doing on the offense. I think this could be an upset alert moment. I really think that
Whoa.
Iowa, I don't know what it is, but as you go back and you think about what Ohio State's been doing and how they've been playing outside of Michigan State, I mean, they've been playing a pretty soft, cushy schedule up to Michigan State. And now I believe with Iowa coming in, they feel good about their team and their success. They're 3-1. I mean, they're undefeated. They've got their team together. Upset alert. I'm going to take Iowa.
They got
even though I think Jeremiah Smith, that passing game with Howard, the run game, they got a 1-2 punch. Look, it's going to be very tough. That defense, I mean, they're across the board tough. But Iowa.
Here's what's going to happen. Ohio State has got they got the wake up call in defense. Trust me, they got the wake up call, and so they better show up. I don't see the running back from Iowa getting any type of traction. Now, if they're not able to run, they're not going to be able to throw the ball. Yeah. So with that said, I think Ohio State is going to start using the run, the real kind of thing, implementing the tight end that they've started to, and really then you got Tate. Jeremiah, and then you got
Anderson,
Buka. Yeah. Now I mean, it's just where it's almost like, well, you know, where do I turn? So I think they're going to get dizzy. They're going to get. We don't know what's going on. 28-7 is my prediction. I love the way you're going out on that. And you know what? You're a little pussy for that too, by the way.
Hey, watch.
How about this? Alabama is traveling to Vanderbilt.
Man, oh man.
Do you give them any shot whatsoever?
I mean, Vanderbilt has been waiting. I think they've been kind of foreshadowing, like getting ready for this. This has been on their mind. It's like them or Tennessee. Yeah. I think what they started out was pretty incredible. I think their quarterback, I will probably mispronounce his name, so Paiva. He's a great quarterback. Whoever you are, you're awesome. I'm a big fan of how you came in there and you're running like you're 10 feet tall. After seeing Bama, I just don't think anybody can stop. They can put 2-3 people on that receiver, and I still think they're just too loaded.
But let me ask you a question.
But they will give a game. I will think it's at home at Vanderbilt.
Let me ask you a question. That game against Georgia was so physical. I mean, there was some head knocking going on.
Yeah.
This is my question to you. Coming off such a ferocious game against Georgia, I mean, there was some hitting going. I mean, players looked like they were just wiped out. Tough game all the way to the fourth quarter. I mean, down to the end. Could injuries come into play? These guys, certainly played the whole game. My only thing is this: if you could catch somebody with a few maybe lingering injuries or not up to 100%, and then Vanderbilt playing at home, whatever, you could catch someone. I don't think they're there yet. I'm still going to go Alabama, but just something to consider as we move on.
I think that's a good point.
So we got Clemson going to play at Florida State. Do you give them – now, here's the thing. Let's go back at the very beginning. I chose Clemson to win the ACC.
You did.
You chose Florida State to win the ACC. Again, let's go back. Florida State's quarterback, he's done. He's not playing. That may be the best thing ever happened for them, to be quite honest, because he wasn't doing anything. So, Clemson traveling to Florida State, who you got?
Clemson all the way. I mean, there's not even any question. I think Florida State, they should pack it up. They should send everybody home early. I think they should just forfeit the rest of the games. The season's over. I mean, it's just done. It's so depressing. I mean, Florida State, after the big thing they did last year, make a huge statement. Then they get this incredible, talented, gifted quarterback that transfers down here to take them to the national title game. Yeah. To get into the playoff bracket this year, unquestionable. And he looks like sour grapes.
Yeah.
I'm just so disappointed in what DJ has done. I think the entire country is. I'm sure that the entire school is depressed. I'm just like Clemson and Cade, is going to run down there, and they're going to just beat on them.
Yeah, and my thing is this: is as a coach, unfortunately, everything rides on the coach. Like when you don't do well, it doesn't matter what happens, injuries or whatever. It's still you're the coach, and it rides on you. I certainly don't think that. Here's my thing, and you and I spoke about this. Florida State had the opportunity to go through the summer with this quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to have seen something that either they were saying, "Hey, let's roll with it. Let's figure it out as we go. Hopefully, he's going to get better than what we saw." Or he played really well in the summer and was like, "Whoa, okay, guys, this is our guy," and just shit the bed when the season started. Who knows? But the one thing that we always say is coaches can say, "I can prepare the players." What happens on the field is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Did we prepare them enough? Did we, put them through the training and whatever they needed? So those are the questions they're going to have as a coach. Did I do enough?
Yeah.
I think right now is one of those. It's almost like, when I play you in basketball or something, you have that fake injury. You can't finish because you're getting smashed. It's similar to what they're doing over at Florida State right now, where the quarterback, I don't know how severe that little finger is, but maybe they're kind of like going, "Listen, bro, do a Greg Vaughn, fake an injury. We'll see you over there on the sidelines."
This is, we always forget, our John Madden battles, when we stay late missing birthday celebrations because you're getting throttled. You don't want to go home as a loser on your birthday.
See, the reason why we were late is because I was smashing you, and you were like, "Let's play another one."
We're going to keep this about college football trash talk because I can trash talk you
football
all day.
Who's your team that was playing on college football?
Clemson and Florida State. Clemson's going to win. DJ, I think he's got a low confidence level right now. He's really disappointed a lot of people, so he needs to get back on the horse and saddle up and get better.
Or get on the horse and ride out of town. What about Utah State, Boise State?
Not even a game for me to talk about. Boise State, Gentry, running machine. He is a Heisman contender. Give him the ball. Let him run.
I got one for you. You're going to love this one because I've been a big Iowa State fan. I'm going to stick with them. Got Baylor. Baylor, who's played well, is going into Iowa State. It's a night game at Iowa State. Who you got?
I agree with what you're saying, and I know it's a must-win for Baylor. I know it's a night game. They're going to have time to travel, adjust, and I think they want to upset those Cyclones. So I'm going to go with Baylor. I'm going to take some green and gold. I feel gold. Something like my gold Emmy right there. I'm just feeling the gold, man. So I'm going to go with Baylor because I know you're a big Iowa State game, and I'm trying to keep it interesting. Instead of riding coattails.
This is one. Let me go back to Iowa State real quick. You know why I like him so much? That coach, to me,
love the coach.
I can't believe that he's still there. I don't know a program. If I was if I was the athletic director, I would be looking for him to come in. And you got to remember, like Iowa gets all the recruits, whatever. Iowa State has just been one of those steady programs, done well. Maybe look to him to jump in the next couple of years to like a bigger program.
Yeah. Brock Purdy, he came out of Iowa State.
Yeah.
Look what he's doing.
Yeah.
I think that coach, you've said it well. I think he's done an incredible job. He's definitely going to be moving up to greener pastures, He's going to get a big opportunity. I think he could move down to Florida.
Well, that's another. Let's talk about that.
Look at FSU. They may need a new coach.
Let's go. Well, okay. Let's talk about that real quick right now. FSU, I don't think that they're going to move anywhere. I think they're solid on him. They maybe going to look at injuries, whatever. That's what happened to him last year. Unfortunately, they got decimated with. Again, the quarterback, and then they had to bring in, I don't even know if maybe it was a third string quarterback, whatever. This year, they brought this guy in, didn't work out well. I believe that he has one more year left. Napier over at Florida, if now they was it last week or whatever, the quarterback came in and looked great. So he's still good at the moment. But if they shit the bed the rest of the year, then you better believe that they're going to be looking for him to move. What do you got? I got USC traveling to Minnesota. Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
You know what? These guys are just, they're tough. They really, they play hard. I think they're going to carry that loss from last week into this week. I think SC's going to travel well. They're still making a statement in the Big Ten. I'm going to go with SC because I just think they got too much talent on that team in a different way. They're fast. They got skill set players. Minnesota's very meat and potatoes. You know, they like to run the ball right down the trap. You know, so it's going to be fun. But I don't count them out. But I just think SC's just got them by a touchdown plus.
All right, let's do this real quick because when we've always talked about how teams, especially the ones that have been, let's see here real quick. Okay, let's go. All right, so let's see. Saturday, I was actually going to say weather could be an issue, right?
Okay.
Saturday, it's going to be 79 degrees. So take that out.
Wow.
I'm going USC. The boys are going to be there. They're going to be, hey, it's just like playing at home. I thought that Minnesota because if you looked at the weather last week in Michigan, there's snow flurries and stuff.
Oh, wow.
I thought maybe they were going to trickle a little bit of that in. Get rid of that. I got SC traveling into beautiful 79 degrees weather. Anyway, all right. So we got Tennessee traveling to Arkansas.
Man, this is going to be a great game. This is going to be just a battle. It will. I mean, it's just like, you got two incredible quarterbacks, two great programs. One is more superior than the other. But Arkansas, they don't quit easy. I mean, they never die. I'm just such a big fan of Tennessee. I like their program. I like Josh Heupel, what he's done there. They're airing it out. They beat Oklahoma at Norman. I'm sticking with Tennessee.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, look, Sam Pittman is the coach of Arkansas. I think he's a really talented coach. Again, we always talk about teams where they are. Like you were talking about Auburn on the way up. I believe that too. I think Arkansas is there. I don't think they're there yet.
Yeah.
We're getting into the meat of the season where people like defensive coordinators have had a chance to look at that quarterback from Arkansas. I think Tennessee, with the coach that they have, especially they're hitting on all cylinders, Tennessee is going to be tough to beat. Even though they're playing at Arkansas, I'm going Tennessee. Now, this is an interesting game, and I want to hear your – we got Michigan going into Washington, and I want to hear your thoughts and who you're going to go with. Washington at home.
Washington at home.
Night game. 7:30
night game. I mean, this is the stakes are on the line for Washington. I mean, as they went in and last year to, compete national championship game, so against Michigan, who they lost to, I think this is a revenge game. I think they're going to make a statement. I really like Washington to take this one. I think they, after watching, they got Texas-Michigan game to watch. They beat Texas to get to the national championship. They're going to take their footprint, their blueprint of what happened, how Texas played against them. They're going to come in so ready. I think they are going to beat Michigan, and we're going to watch Michigan, as I said earlier, fall down the line. They're going to be chopped back to, in the top.
Let me give you a couple stats here real quick.
Weather looks great.
Washington lost to Rutgers 28-18. They lost to Washington State 24-19. They beat Northwestern 24-5. In Eastern Michigan, they won 30-9. So with that said, September. This was last week. You know, listen, Rutgers is one of those teams similarly to Michigan where they run the ball really well. Gritty team. And I think Rutgers might be undefeated too. I think.
Yeah, they're tough.
With that said, defensive coordinators have a chance to prepare. Now, I said this before, and I say it every game. If Michigan is able to play bully ball, field advantage, punts, and all that, where they keep the game, on their side, and they run the clock, and they just eat away, and they just pound you. It could be one of those games where, maybe in the fourth quarter, they start breaking a few runs just because they just worn you down. Double tight ends, with that said, I don't think that the quarterback from Michigan has shown anything other than, he's managing the game. He's handing the ball off, throwing a little screen here or there, but they're winning.
Yeah.
They're winning.
They are winning. And you know what? Here's the thing. I don't know. I mean, Will Rogers, their quarterback for Washington, I think he was a transfer. I think he played at Mississippi State, if I'm right, and he transferred. So I mean, they've got the talent. I just think this is so important for them to make a statement. Yeah, he played down at Mississippi State. This kid left.
Yeah. That's
exactly where he came from. I was correct. But let me tell you, I think Washington, this is their statement game. They need to let everybody know they're not a joke. They can play with the big boys. This is a revenge game. National championship last year, lost. So I'm all in for Washington Huskies. They play at big game moments.
Okay.
Are you taking Michigan?
What?
You're not taking the blue. I know you're taking Washington.
My gut tells me to go with that team up north. But I think that we're talking about, we're not brand new in the schedule. Now we're knee deep. We're 6 games in.
Yeah.
Defensive coordinators, I'm telling you right now that if Michigan's able to do what they want to do, shame on them. Shame on them, because you've seen the Texas game. You've seen all the games, all those games. You know what they can do. If you're able to stop the run, you're going to force Orgy to pass. I think it's disastrous for them. I'm going Washington. My gut tells me go with that team up north, but I'm going Washington. Last game is Miami is traveling to Cal, and this is a night game.
Lead us off in your thoughts. I know you are ready for this one.
So Miami is, listen, when you talk about football programs they travel well, meaning quarterback's playing superb, they got great defense, you can run the ball. And that what I'm saying is, the team travels well. So it doesn't matter if they play at home. You put that anywhere and they're going to be able to play well, right? So with that said, I'm going Miami. I think Cam Ward right now is just because you look at the playbook that the offensive coordinator has at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And I was talking about that Ohio State when they played Michigan. I think that the playbook Ohio State has right now is maybe this much to what is going to be when they play Michigan. And I believe that Miami right now, with Cam playing so well, the offensive coordinator is like, holy shit, we've taken that and now we're going to open it up to this.
Yeah.
That's how much upside is with Cam. So if I was an offensive coordinator, I'd be the happiest person in the world because of that. So with that said, I'm going Miami for the victory.
Wow. One of my good friends is a Cal Berkeley Bear, and I hear and I've heard so much out of the gate this year how great they are going in early this season at Auburn and winning against SEC football. They had a soft opener. They had Auburn week 2, San Diego State at home, crushed them, then lose to Florida State. Okay.
They lost to Florida State?
That's the one win they got, FSU. So
enough said for me.
Yeah, so that just kind of deflated my thoughts on where I could go. But I do think that Cal is going to be prepared for this. I think mentally, physically, they are going to maybe, this is an upset alert game, in my opinion, because they are at home. It is a night game. Miami's traveled. They got the hype with Cam Ward. They played a big game against Virginia Tech, came out on the other side and got the victory. They got momentum. I don't know if Cal's going to be able to be the team, but they are at home. Miami's got swag, but I'm going to go with the Bears. That's right.
Whoa.
I'm going to take Cal Bears because I'm going to do this for my boy. I wanted to know that it's early. I can take some risk because sometimes there's a big reward at the end. I'm going to go with the Bears. There's something telling me I don't believe they're really in the conversation to be a contender for the ACC, but I definitely think they're going to make a statement this week.
Well, we got some great picks in week 6. The ones that we disagreed on is you chose UNLV, I chose Syracuse. You chose Missouri, I chose A&M. You have SMU, I have Louisville. We both chose Ole Miss. You have an upset Iowa going in and upsetting Ohio State, you asshole. And then we have Boise State. I have Iowa State. You have Baylor. And then Miami, you chose Cal, bro. Woo! We got some good picks this week.
This is going to be a big week for you or for me. And I'm just like,
I know. Whatever. This could turn the tide where you could actually maybe ring the victory bell. I doubt it. But
I don't want to touch your victory.
I know, but you're not going to touch it anyway because that's called the victory bell, bro.
No, I don't
have
play
a
with
victory
that.
Bell.
What is it?
The only bell you've rung is the bell in your head.
Yeah.
Listen, great week this week, man. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We love you. Remember, Greg, what do they have to do down at the bottom?
Listen, for all you people, wherever you're watching from, please, we just started up our YouTube channel. So you can join us at, our YouTube channel, which is College Football Trash Talk.
It's right there.
So please check down as he's pointing to it. Check down there at the bottom of your screen. College Football Trash Talk. It's going to be new and delivered to you in a high quality, exciting package. So also for all those on IG, you got us at CFB_TT. So make sure you follow us. Check us out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow us. Tell us what you thought. We'd love to hear more about your questions or guests that you would like to see on our program. So James and I can, banter with them a little bit. And, we'll lay out the red carpet. So like Susan Walters, she beat us last week.
Susan Walters came on, the first guest, and just beat us. I mean,
she just told us how football is supposed to be won.
That's it. So the last thing I will end on is, guys, Greg and I are going to go and be part of this great event. It's called Camp Dream. Right, Greg?
Yeah.
And we're going to be in Atlanta. And where exactly are we again in Atlanta?
We're going to be coming into the northern part of Atlanta. We are part of campdreamga.org. Please check it out. It's an incredible organization that helps children, adults with any physical ailments for camp getaways, summer camp fun, activities, therapy. They do it all, and they have a wonderful amount of people involved, and we're just happy to be included into this weekend's upcoming event, trying to bring more attention and awareness of what they're doing and impacting a lot of lives for the greater good of youth and adults. So we hope you support us. Check out campdreamga.org. Or check out our links on both James and my IG page to get more information.
Look, the bottom line is we're going to come down. We're going to have some fun. Look, there's going to be cornhole. There's going to be all kinds of games. Again, I will come down and I will smash Greg in every game that we do, which is usual, because we darts, whatever.
I just want to, the one thing I want to remind you, he will not be bringing that victory bell. Because
it's called a victory bell.
He's probably got a little one, like a Christmas tree ornament somewhere. Well, that's going to be the end of our show today, because that victory bell is giving us a sign that James is over. I'm out.
So, guys, listen, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, Greg has mentioned that DM us or on CFB_TT. Ask us questions. Tell me who your team is. Look, we concentrate on pretty much the top 25. But if there's a team that you love, I think Georgia State, somebody's on Instagram has been, pumping them up a little bit.
They lost. Georgia Southern beat them, so they don't count anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, if there's another team that we're not mentioning and you want to give a shout out to your team, like I said, we cover pretty much the top 25. But if there's a team that you love, you want us to give you a shout out, ask us the question. We'll mention you when we do our show. Again, thank you very much. We're here every Friday. Talk college football trash talk. That's what we do, right, Greg?
That's what we do, and we're glad to do it with you guys. Thank you for following and joining us today. James, it's always great to see you. And I look forward to seeing you at Camp Dream this weekend.
Yes, baby.
Yes, sir. So,
tequila. We're going to be drinking a little bit of tequila, right?
Yes, sir. Got that done. And you watching you lose on cornhole. All right.
Buddy. Okay, we're going to take some video and we're going to show you guys.
We're going to stream some live video on our stories for the CFB_TT on IG.
Yeah.
But be sure and check us out right here at YouTube, like College Football Trash Talk.